Hello everybody, this is DearMamaSal, and it's Tuesday morning, and the temperature is 16 in Canada and the opposite, 61 in American. Overcast, lots of cloud. You can probably catch it in the back windows and stuff that you can probably see behind me, but very overcast today. So not sure how much it's going to rain, but pretty sure that it is going to rain. And you're probably wondering, if that is so, Sal, why aren't you wearing a raincoat? Good point. One I should have considered before I left the house. It's me. Actually, I normally don't worry too much about it, because I really do have just a couple of steps between my car and where cover is, so it doesn't freak me out really. We appear to have a film crew at the local A&W, isn't that exciting? So I had a really interesting coffee meeting after work yesterday. I met a young person that had come to the leadership camp that you guys know that I have been involved in for many, many years. Anyway, he's managed to get himself into the position of president of a student organization, quite a big one, international thing. And he was asking for some input on how to do what he's doing better. And it was really interesting, because I don't know how many times I have to remind people that that people are completely different. If you want a team of people to work together and work well, then you have to honor their way of doing things. So what I heard was the person who was talking to me was very much an independent personality, in as much as very task-oriented, very process-oriented, very much aware of how to set goals and achieve them, and that was his way. And that's fine. Well, I had to explain to him it wasn't necessarily everybody else's way, and in fact, half of the personality types wouldn't be doing it that way, because it's not the way they think. You're going to hand them a spreadsheet and they're not going to touch it. You're going to get so frustrated because they don't do their reporting the right way. And so just as the conversation developed, more and more it was into this whole thing about, what makes people tick. And not only that, but everybody seems to have this rather weird notion that just because you want to be part of a club, let's say, that you will have all the accountability, goal setting and achievement requirements that certain other people have. And I kept trying to say to him, the reason you got made president of this thing is because you understand those things. And you live by them. If you say it's going to be done by Thursday, you'll make sure it is. That makes you very unusual. It makes you part of the 20% of the world, as opposed to the 80% that will give their commitment left, right, and center and not do a darn thing. And I said, if you're going to get frustrated by that, then it doesn't make you a leader. That makes you somebody who is looking for perfection, and you're never going to find it. So I said, I don't think I've worked on any committee anywhere, or any board, where the 80-20 rule didn't apply. That 20% of the people did 80% of the work. And that's normal. To expect otherwise, is futility. It's not realistic. So the trick is to get that 20% solid, I was really fortunate for so many years that on one particular group that we worked together, there were like 4 of us, and out of a board of 12. But the interesting thing was that the 4 of us knew that we could carry the other 8 if necessary. And when I say carry the other 8, it was just like we knew that they would never take it as seriously as we did. We knew that when we put down a commitment, we would do, not if it suited us, or if the wind was in the right direction, or if the sun came up that morning and didn't rain. It was like, if we gave that commitment, then we achieved it. Or, if there was the slightest possibility that we wouldn't achieve it, we would phone each other and say, okay, fine, I got a bit of a challenge here. Can you just help me speed this up a bit? Because we knew the other person would step in, even though they were already overloaded, because that's what leaders do. Leaders don't wait for the wheels to come off before they say they got problems. They actually can see problems coming ahead of time and do something about it before they get there. That's what leadership is. Now, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter whether you're, on the local PTA. It doesn't matter if you're on the softball team at school or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. See, what leaders do is they are accountable. If they say they're going to be at practice at 5:30, they will be. They're not full of excuses. Now, I know for certain people that they have to rely on their parents to get them from point A to point B. But you do have influence. And so, what I tried so desperately to explain to this young man was he was going to go insane if he kept his perfectionism up. He kept expecting everybody that joined, or just because you gave them a title meant that they would perform to his measurement. Well, no. This young man is exceptional. He's been trained in an exceptional way. I know that because we trained him. And the other thing that I reminded him of is one of the things that almost anybody who knows me smiles about and brings back to me. I have a couple of sayings that people quote me on. And one of them is, what's plan B? Whenever anybody tells me what their goal is or how they're going to achieve it, I always go, yeah, and what's plan B? Because I've lived long enough to know very, very rarely does plan A go as imagined. And at very least, you're going to need plan B. And in some cases, maybe D, E, or F. I mean, you've heard me say this before. But it's like, it is naive and really immature to think that plan A is going to work all the time. It doesn't. And when I'm working with groups of people, I really like the people who can laugh when they, when the wheels come off and they go, okay, that looks like the end of plan A then. What's plan B? And one of the greatest guys at this now is, of course, Dougie, who some of you have met, and he's coming up Friday to visit, because he really says that it was probably the most important thing he learned from me was, what's plan B? And I was trying so hard to teach this young man that yesterday. I said, now that's the job of a leader. What he's falling into already is everybody's letting him down, so he's doing it all. And that's not a leader, because he's going to end up a victim of his own success. And he's going to get resentful. And so I was warning him against that, and giving him some tips on how to get people more accountable. So here's the word that I'm trying to make sure you guys understand. That is that there are very few people in the world that actually are trustworthy in terms of giving commitments. And I wonder if you're one of them. I'm not saying perfect, because we all have stuff that happens and life gets in the way. But people who give commitments understand the value of that commitment. Or the exceptional ones do. The ones I want to work with. So for example, let's say, you've committed to be somewhere on Thursday. And then a friend of yours phones up and says, hey, there's a great party going on Thursday, let's go to it. And you go, yeah, let's do that. And then you say, oh, wait a minute, I made a commitment somewhere else. Never mind, I'll get out of that. Because the party sounds like more fun, really. What does that tell you about yourself? And what people don't realize is the possibility that one day this person that you just let down because you thought the party sounded like more fun than keeping the commitment, this person you just let down could end up being the person who interviews you for a job. And what will their memory be of you? I tell you, they'll remember that you don't keep your commitments. They won't really care how hard you work or how hard you try or anything else. They'll go, that's the guy that never keeps commitments. It's the guy who says, oh, girl, doesn't matter. That's the person who says they're going to do X, Y, and Z and then never follows through. Or only follows through if it suits them. So I really challenge you all. I don't care what it is that you do in your life, to have a really good look at how you are about keeping your commitments. And if you're not good, then do you want to change? Do you want to start saying, I don't care, I can't change what's gone before, but I certainly can change who I'm going to be in future. And I think, I know, that anybody who is anybody in the world, anybody who has risen to any place of major leadership, is somebody who keeps commitments. People notice that. People notice that. And what I've noticed about celebrities or politicians or people at that level, sometimes they get invited to 2 or 3 things in one evening. And I probably have talked about this before, but they've got an incredible skill. And the incredible skill is that they actually get to 3 or 4 in one evening. You see, they don't go to a function with the idea of actually being there the whole time. What they know is they just need to be seen to be there. And they might just say, look, I'd love to be there, but I've got a couple of prior commitments, so I'll probably only be able to stay for half an hour. Is that okay? And most people would say, absolutely. Half an hour of you there, in their minds, they're thinking half an hour of you there is good enough for me. It's better than no time. So that's what people who are trustworthy do. Okay? They don't judge the event on its value to them, or entertainment value, or who's going to be there, or whatever. They judge the event on, is it humanly possible for me to get there? And if it is, can I be in and out within half an hour? It's a very clever system. And so the same thing is, let's say that you are due to phone, email, Twitter, tweet, whatever, 3 of your friends tonight, because you haven't spoken to them for a while. It can either take you 2 hours, or it can take you 15 minutes. Depends how long you speak to them, whether you email them, whether you phone them, whether you tweet them. But I'd like to suggest that most people just want to know that you're thinking of them. So the fact you just send them a tweet is probably good enough. Hi, I was just thinking of you. Hope everything's okay. So I must admit that I've chatted this poor guy's ear off last night. I'm sure he wasn't expecting me to talk to him on the subject as long as I did. And once you get me going on a subject like that, I do keep going. Because I'm very passionate about it. I'm very passionate about how naive sometimes we can be in our expectations. So don't think that because these are the things that you do, that everybody else is going to do them. Understand that what makes a good leader is that you actually expect reality, and that you plan around that. You don't plan for everybody to get everything done on time. If you plan for that, you're going to be very disappointed. You might give those as the deadlines, but in your mind, you're planning for that to go wrong. And I think what makes really great leaders is when all the possible things go wrong that could go wrong, that they're still standing there. And I've had some classic moments where, that I've been with really important people, and responsible for organizing things, and literally you're standing there and somebody's whispering in your ear that a major component of this thing suddenly isn't going to happen for whatever reason. And what makes a great leader is they go, okay, thank you. And they can just on the fly go, well, remember this and this and this was going to happen. It's not. Here's plan B. And the funny thing is, most people who do a lot, who are involved in a lot of things, will just hear that and smile. Yes. Excuse me. They will just smile because it happens all the time. It's not a surprise. And the good ones got to where they are because they can cope with that. They're not throwing their hands up and going, oh, well, this was meant to happen, and if this is not going to happen, I don't want to be involved. They're just going, okay, fine. And see it to be quite normal. So, get a sense of humor. And when I say get a sense of humor, understand that this is so absolutely normal. As you know, last weekend, I bought a whole lot of food, and I was halfway through cooking it. The first part of it anyway, when I found out that the people I was expecting to come to dinner were not going to. For that split second, I was angry. I don't mind. That's normal. What a waste of food, what a waste of time. All those sort of things went through my mind. And then I just had to smile and say, okay, fine, plan B. So plan B was number one, I'm going to eat it anyway. And the funny thing was that in my reality I was saying, yes, but then there won't be enough for next weekend if you do that. And I'm going, I don't really care. I really don't care. I'll make a plan B about the next one. And then I just took the meat that I hadn't cooked or was about to cook, and I just wrapped it up and put it in the freezer. Oh, there's been a little conversation between two cars here. Wonder if they'll remember it's an accident. Nobody planned to hit each other. I hope so. It gets so nasty otherwise. Alright everybody, so have a good day. I hope that little learning moment made some of you nod and go, yep. And I really do challenge you to be really aware of the commitments you make. The other thing is, please don't promise people things. Quite some years ago, I gave up promising anybody anything. People say, oh, do you promise? No, I don't promise. Because I don't want to break a commitment. But I will tell you that it's my intent to be there. Then people say, oh, well, I can't trust you to be there. Yes, you can. Unless life gets in the way. I mean, I could be in an accident, I could get serious, I could get sick. These sort of things could happen. So that's why I'm not going to promise. People promise things far too easily. Especially to children. And then they let them down. And we've all been children, so you know how much that hurts. What damage that does to the child. So, have a good day. Keep your commitments if you can. And if you can't, tell somebody immediately.